Ferrari at breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
A lot of you are furious with me. Who's this? John, I can't believe Nick Ferrari talking about McDonald's recruiting over 50s. I don't think you should have those views. Mo says, I wouldn't want to be served by you, you miserable old git. Well, I would be shocking. Just terrible. What do you want? Unless you change your mind. I thought you just said you wanted filet o fish. Would you want to go large or not? It's not that hard, is it? Either you want more fries or you don't want more fries. How hard is this? And then it'd be off to see the manager, who'd be, the age of my grandchildren. I think it's probably best if you go elsewhere. Burger King come in. Anyway, look, it's sort of just having a bit of fun. You wouldn't want me serving you hamburgers, let me assure you. Right, John in Sherborne, let's talk energy. The Labour Party got it solved, haven't they? Thank God. Good morning.
The left have a penchant for heroic oversimplification. I'll say no. I'll make my points quickly because I know you don't have a lot of time.
Of
One,
why am I dying?
To do what Keir Starmer wants, you've got to get elected.
Indeed.
So there's got to be a general election. The last time anybody on the Conservative side made that kind of mistake was Ted Heath. His arrogance made him believe that he was better than the unions and I'll take it to the country. We got Labour, and Dennis Healey, Chancellor at the time, had to go to the IMF to borrow money.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right.
So, A, he's not in power. B, the current brand of Conservatives are not as stupid or as arrogant as Heath. And if he thinks they're going to hand him a general election, as soon as one of them gets into the leadership, he's living in a fool's paradise. And my last point is the assumption, which is rather naive, if we were in Venezuela or Russia or China, perhaps you could say, right, okay, boys, we're going to backdate at 6 months and you'll pay up, go away. They're not going to roll over for this. And I go back to my conversation with you last week. What they have, they'll hold on to. They've got the best lawyers, the best organisation, and we'd be tied up in the courts. And we'd have a whole winter, and the only people who are going to make money out of this are the barristers.
The lawyers and the barristers, my learned friends. John, thank you for that. Good hearing from you again. We'll talk soon. More on this to come. Let's go to other matters. And as we talked a little about what you'll hear from Labour, I did say that Liz Truss, the front runner to be the next Conservative leader, and therefore, of course, Prime Minister, floated in the papers yesterday that she could strip the planned £400 energy bill discount from high earners. Simon Clarke, one of her key backers, Chief Secretary to the Treasury, effectively number 2 in command at the Treasury to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, agreeing it was odd wealthy people would benefit from the handout. Here with more details is another prominent Liz Truss supporter, former chairman of the Conservative Party and Northern Ireland Secretary, Brandon Lewis, who joins me now. How will it be determined whether or not you get your 400 quid? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Well, look, there's no decisions on this yet. Simon Clarke, as the Chief Secretary, and the Chancellor, Nadine Zahawi, are looking at a range of measures around what we can do to help people with the challenges that people are facing with energy bills and the cost of living more generally, and they'll be put to the new Prime Minister in early September. And as Liz has said, there'll be an emergency budget that will bring forward proposals to help people.
When will the emergency budget be, Mr. Lewis?
Well, I know Liz is determined to do that as quickly as possible. Obviously, if she is Prime Minister, we'll know the result of the leadership election on the 5th of September. So I know she'll be looking to do that within a matter of weeks of becoming Prime Minister if she's in that fortunate position.
So she's saying that some people might not get their £400, but she doesn't know exactly who.
Well, no, what Simon Clarke has outlined at the weekend is one of the things that he as Chief Secretary and the team at the Treasury are looking at. I think it is right, and people would expect the Treasury to be looking at a range of things, and Liz's team looking at a range of things we can do to make sure we're putting support into people. Obviously, the core point Liz wants to develop, should she be Prime Minister, is a lower tax economy more generally, so people have more money in their pockets to deal with some of these challenges, whilst obviously building our energy security to bring these prices down as well.
Yes, but I will come back to this, because this is what the Telegraph were running yesterday. I'm sure you saw it. Some people won't get their £400, it is suggested. So they have no idea of the means of the test. They're just another idea they're throwing out there, and they're not quite sure how it works. Is that fair to say?
Not quite, no. As I say, the Treasury and Simon Clarke and the Chancellor.
So what is the salary level? A £50,000 per annum?
No, Nick, as I say, you're tempting me into prejudging proposals that might come forward in a budget, and as you know, I'm not going to be tempted into that.
So this is just a promise to try and win votes, isn't it? It's not been thought through whatsoever.
No,
it's like saying everyone will get a slice of apple. The day after Liz Truss is Prime Minister, it's free apple pie day. Everybody gets a free apple pie. You might as well say that. Where does it end?
Actually, Nick, what you've got is the Chief Secretary to the Treasury as part, and one of Liz's supporters, yes, as is the Chancellor Nadeem Zahawi, and Liz Truss herself, of outlining for people, that they want to make sure we are delivering a package of things. It is quite logical that they will be looking at a whole range of things. Liz has already outlined the underlying principles will be a low tax economy with growth to ensure people have more money in their pocket. She wants to deal with the green levies in the short term. Yes. This is something that is affordable within the headroom we've got. To go beyond that, obviously does need an emergency budget, and that's the work that's going on at the moment. And should we be in a position where, as I say, Liz is the Prime Minister, she and her then Chancellor will propose that to the country in an emergency budget so that people have that knowledge and confirmation before the energy price cap comes through.
Mr Lewis, you've served at cabinet level, you've been chairman of the Conservative Party, but when it comes to this energy plan or energy crisis, you lot are Manchester United and the Labour Party of Brentford, aren't they? You are taking such a kicking. None of you got an idea to bless yourselves with. Keir Starmer comes in, solves the problem overnight. He also dreamt up windfall taxes and everything else. What exactly does the Conservatives do here?
Well, hold on. Let's also be clear about what we've seen from Keir Starmer today. It's an unfunded proposal.
No, it's not. Respectfully, they say it's not unfunded.
I know they say it's not, but if you look at what the IFS have already said this morning, there's a big hole of about $7 billion potentially in what they're proposing. There's also the fact that this will cost potentially over a year what they're proposing more than furlough. Look, actually what we're looking to do, and I think it is right, Liz's team are taking the time, the Treasury, the Chancellor and the Chief Secretary, to work through what they can do within a range of measures that will be proposed in an emergency budget. So we do this properly, make sure it's properly costed, and make sure it actually works. So that what we're proposing puts money in people's pockets, allows them to deal with these challenges, and potentially brings down the cost of energy as well.
But Mr Lewis, Sir Keir Starmer and Labour suggested a windfall tax. The government finally adopted it. The Labour Party suggested taking VAT off energy bills. Rishi Sunak now wants to do this. They are in the lead. Every time Conservatives follow up behind, don't they?
Well, there's actually quite a big difference, I would say, between the groups you've mentioned and where Liz Truss is, which is that Liz has outlined and been consistent from the beginning that we need to reduce tax. Everybody else is playing catch up with Liz on that. She's led the way on it. She's also been very clear that she wants to do this based on a low tax economy, being absolutely firm that we will wait until we have the Prime Minister and Chancellor in place who can do the work based on what the Treasury are looking at the moment and the work that Liz's team are looking at in an emergency budget. We've been consistent on this all the way through. I think that's the right, proper and professional way to do it. So we come forward with proposals that are properly costed, that actually can work for people and make a difference to people's lives so they can afford to deal with these issues and the challenges that we're all seeing from the global increase in not just inflation but energy prices more generally.
Last couple of stories, just get a word on you if I can. You'll be aware of the pressure now, we understand, later this week with A-level results. I'm afraid I don't know the age of your children. If you have any of that age group, I wish them well, but it will be, unfortunately, appear to be widespread disappointment and a scramble for university places, the like of which you haven't seen for decades. What's gone wrong here, or what might lie behind this in your view, Mr Lewis?
Well, I've got my children. One is both mine are sort of through the A-level stage. So, but I do therefore
you must have had them very young,
the last couple of years. So you're too kind. But obviously it's only the last couple of years. So I fully understand that the frisson that people will be having all this week, children across the country and parents worried about what's going to happen with their results, looking forward to them, hopefully excited about them. Look, the reality is this has been a very difficult few years for students doing A-levels and university students. As I say, I've seen that through my children, what they've had to deal with going through COVID and not benefiting from the type of experience that most of us were fortunately able to have before COVID. So it is a challenging time. We'll have to see what the results are later this week. Obviously, I wish everybody the best of luck with those results and that they're able to get into university or the job of their choice when they move forward.
It is being predicted that last year, this may have affected you, there were 45% A-stars or A's. This year, 34%. There's going to be a lot of disappointed, can I even say in some instances, heartbroken young people.
Well, if the prediction plays through, yes, there'll be some very, very disappointed people out there. Obviously, we all need to wait and see what the actual results are. And as you know, one of the things I've seen over the last couple of years is students who are through really difficult times, been able to, and the teachers actually, the work they've done and their parents to support them, pull out some phenomenal results, bearing in mind the change they've seen through COVID. So let's wait and see where we are with the results and hope everybody gets the outcomes that they've worked so hard for.
OK, finally, has the Prime Minister thrown in the towel? Has he actually stopped working? I note he's on another holiday, this time in Greece, the second holiday in 2 weeks. Why doesn't he just give it up?
Well, look, first of all, obviously he has indicated that he's going to be stepping down. We've got a new Prime Minister coming into place on probably the 6th of September. But look, Nick, you know as well as I do that as politicians, and particularly in a role like Prime Minister, and having been a Secretary of State, I've seen this, let alone as Prime Minister, even when you are not in the office in Downing Street, you are working. With one of the things with the way we all work virtually now, but it's always been the case with Prime Minister.
Grease, buying eggs is working, but anyway, do go on.
Well, look, to be fair, anybody has to pop out, and one of these we've all seen, even here in London, is Boris as Prime Minister's gone out and done his own shopping from time to time.
Mr. Lewis, this is his second holiday in 2 weeks. Why don't we do it the other way and just celebrate when he is at work and spends the rest of his time on holiday?
Hold on, I think it's all, look, from memory, and I'm talking off the top of my head, so somebody may prove me slightly wrong on this, but I think it's probably he's probably in about his second week holiday in the last year or so, certainly this year. So, look, while somebody is away, whether they're a Secretary of State or let alone the Prime Minister, they will be continuing to work. I can assure you he will still be going through red boxes, he will still be dealing with national security issues where relevant. Being out of the country does not mean the Prime Minister stops working.
Grateful for your time as ever. Brandon Lewis, thank you, former Northern Ireland Secretary and Chairman of the Conservative Party, appearing here on LBC Where at 8 o'clock, bang on actually, it's news.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.